What's happening, people? We're back here once again on CubCamTV for this, another edition of CubReacts, as we jump into another one of these videos. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone supporting the channel. We have just hit 13k. Incredible stuff. Thank you to everyone getting involved in the channel, supporting the videos, obviously liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. It means the absolute world to me, and I love doing this sort of thing, so thank you to each and every one of you. If you haven't already, do make sure you are subscribing on the right-hand side, because today we are jumping into this one, something a little bit different from Burna Boy alongside Polo G. This one's literally just landed a couple of minutes ago. We're jumping right into the reaction. I want to get this one done tonight so I can go to bed and then do radio in the morning. So we're going to jump right into it. Please do remember though, guys, there will be a lot of cuts and pauses during this video. The reason for this is simply because YouTube blocks the videos unless we do it. We have to chop them down a lot, otherwise they get flagged and they never end up going up. So I want to make sure the content is actually being seen. So there'll be a few more cuts and pauses than you might be used to on reaction videos, and there'll be a bit more discussion about what's going on in the tune musically. We're going to break down the production, the vocal performance, the video, everything along those lines, and hopefully you guys do enjoy. So without further ado, let's crack on. Alright. So we're going for a very American style right off the bat. There's no getting away from that. I think Polo G definitely has had some influence on this one. A lot more sort of kind of sad boy rap sort of sounding on the instrumental, the sort of plucked guitars, the sort of sweeping textures. But Burna sounds good, man. He sounds very comfortable over this sound. It's going to be interesting to see how the tune develops as well. It's got a proper, it has got that really kind of melodic, almost post R&B vibe to the way the tune sounds. I really, really like this one, to be honest with you. I'm loving the approach that Burna's taking. Look, we know Burna is a very, very versatile artist. We know that he is very much able to command songs, whether he's just turning up to do the hook, but this one already sounds like it's very, very catchy on the hook front. Really cool.
For all the times you didn't pick up when I called you. I know when I came into this world, I was so blue.
So a little bit of a sort of, I feel the story he's trying to tell lyric-wise. I don't tend to dive into lyrics, but he's trying to talk about kind of coming from nothing and turning himself into this global superstar, which is fair enough. Fun fact, I think Burna Boy went to Sussex Uni, which is literally up the road from me. Fun fact. But yeah, really, really cool sounding tune. This sort of pole in the background, the kind of structure, the scaffolding, reminds me a lot of the performance that he had at, I think it was the Brit Awards with Stormzy. I think it was the Brit Awards where they were both kind of up on stage. That kind of is throwing me back to that. Something about the video, I'm really liking the fact they're kind of interspersing these kind of nostalgic looking pictures, like black and white photos kind of like cropping into the image, on top of that with sort of event footage as well. It's kind of like a bit of a life story going on for Burna with this one. Again, it's a different approach. We're so used to hearing him on sort of more Afrobeat sort of sounding tunes, more dancehall sounding tunes, and stuff that isn't as kind of flat as this rhythmically. This is a very sort of typical sounding new school, I want to call it sad boy rap sort of sounding tune, but he's definitely holding it down without a shadow of a doubt. You see this tune, yeah? Like, I don't own anything designer as far as I'm aware. I think I've got one ring, which is like an expensive thing. I think that's the only designer-based thing I have. I'm just not huge on designer clothes. But even this has me wanting to kind of do a bit of that in the clubs, you know? It's just got this kind of natural bop to it. It's a proper champagne in the air sort of tune, you know? Like, it's like have your bottle in the air at your private table. That's the type of tune this is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a tune that you share with good people having good times. That's the vibe I'm getting off this one. So yeah, immediately, this is definitely not a sort of area I tend to listen to myself too often. It's just an area that I've never really dived into. Not because I don't like it, it's just something I've never really been able to take in. But yeah, this sounds good. You can understand a bit more why this is the instrumental that's being used with this, I feel. This is definitely Polo G's area. Everything I've heard from Polo G is in this sort of realm. Maybe not identical, but this sort of realm in the way the tune sounds, the sort of structure, the melodies, the harmonies, and his sort of vocal. So yeah, this is why the collaboration kind of makes sense. And this is something I've always liked about Burna Boy. He's not afraid to go to other people's territories for collaboration, if that makes sense. He could go and do a really sort of traditional sounding Afrobeat tune. I've heard him get busy over drill tunes. This this is a much more sort of Americanized, essentially R&B pop rap tune to an extent, and he still sounds very, very comfortable. You know, he's a very versatile artist, 100%.
Out the gutter, can't go back to what I used to do. We just get money, fuck hoes, you know the usual. And this shit forever can't accept without losing you.
I mean, even content-wise, this is kind of why I'm not a massive, massive fan of this sort of style. Again, I'll call it pop rap to an extent, because that's kind of what it is. I just get a little bit lost in the sort of materialism of it to an extent. And obviously Burna's on the hook kind of talking about wanting every single thing a designer brands are doing, which is fair enough, but that's not typical Burna, you know. I feel this sort of sound is very much associated with kind of bragging about wealth and bragging about materialism, which is fine. It works on a one-off, and it works for this tune. It's just not something that I tend to dive into too often myself, but there. Okay. I don't know how much Polo G is for a feature, but that is a very short feature on what is around a 4 minute. It's nearly a 4-minute tune. It's a very short feature. I don't know if that's down to studio constraints. I don't know if they're actually in the video together. I don't know if we saw a single shot of the pair of them together. Interesting. Very interesting.
Fashion show, no rehearsal. DR from Kim Jones, Bottega from Daniel. 100K my ring, so I'm not shaking no hands. No.
I really like on the hook that addition of the extra vocals underneath. Again, that is progression, and it's such a common thing that we're hearing in a lot of different Nigerian artists over the last sort of year or so. The verses grow, the hooks grow. They don't stay still. They tend to exacerbate. They tend to expand as they go. There's new elements layered in. There's always new sort of frequencies being hit and new kind of expansions taking place. I really, really like the fact they've, even though it's such a small thing, and it may not even, people may not even think it's that big a deal, but the fact they've added those extra choir lines underneath means the tune is growing. It's very easy at this point to just go kind of cool. Here's another hook. We've done the sort of the feature of the tune, which is obviously the Polo G verse, and finish it off here. But we can see we've still got another minute and a half of tune left, so this one's hopefully going to keep expanding as it goes.
With the family, you don't come from where I'm from, you may not understand me. Obviously, I never cared about your understanding.
Yeah, he's talking his shit, mate. He's talking his shit. Fair play, Burna, man. I always like to see Burna doing well in regards to the music he makes. He comes across as quite a cool guy as well, from what I've seen of him, anyway. Yeah, no, fair play. Talk your stuff, Burna. I feel a lot of the time when we see what I'd call the big sort of three in sort of Afrobeat music in general, obviously this isn't an Afrobeat tune, but that's where he's primarily based. When you look at Wiz, Davido, and Burna, they don't tend to talk their stuff as much, you know. They tend to be quite humble in the sort of lyricism they bring. So I'm not mad at someone turning around like on a one-off tune and going, look, I want all this Prada stuff because I've made something of myself. No issue with that whatsoever.
And it came from the heart. Let it take me to court, but it's cool because my Richard Mill is not worth $500,000. And the price going up. Again,
I like the switch up of flows on this one. I apologise, there have been a lot of pauses. It's a long tune. It's a new area for Burna Boy to kind of expand into. We're trying to break down the tune as much as we possibly can. Obviously, we come from a production background on this channel, so we're just trying to expand it. We haven't spoken much about the instrumental, which is, again, very, very simple the entire way through. Pretty much rolling trap-style drums, very simple 808 bass line, and then those sort of plucked guitar lines on top. That's pretty much it the entire time. So fair play to Burna, because he is the one that's bringing the tune to life for me. It's his sort of melodies he's bringing vocally that is kind of taking this to the next level. That's what I wanted. We've slowly seen those choirs introduced, okay, throughout the entirety of the tune. We sort of heard them on a hook before, we heard them sort of in the background, and now we're seeing them as a lead centre point. This is what I'm talking about with expansion and growth of tunes. This is a fantastic turn for the tune to take, and we've seen Burna Boy do this before with choirs kind of big. I'm trying to think of the what's the name of the of how to say it. The name has completely escaped me, but basically when you put like a big choir around gospel, that's the word, you have these kind of gospel sounding finales to tunes. Burna Boy's really good at weaving these in.
Got every Louis V collection from Virgil. I'm a life of fashion show, no rehearsal. DR from Kim Jones, Bottega from Dan.
It's a very sweet sounding addition to kind of have those choir chords on the end. And yeah, this is a wicked tune, man. It's a really cool kind of direction from Burna. I like the sort of lyricism, the sort of subject matter of the tune. Something we don't tend to get to hear from him too much. I think we're pretty much just going to have instrumental for the rest of the tune. There's 16 seconds left, so we'll see. But we'll give our roundup in just... And there we go. Really enjoyed this one. Something very different from Burna. Again, this is something that will reach a lot of new listeners, I feel. It's a good way of expanding what he's doing. Polo G's feature was fine. Very short, so I don't really have much to say on it. Not really much happened. But yeah, it's a tune about Burna kind of... I feel this is a tune about Burna kind of expanding his listenership range and once again showing off how versatile he is as a performer. Really cool tune though. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this reaction and breakdown. If you did, please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page, turning notifications on, leaving a like, leaving a comment, all that good stuff. And do remember, you can catch me over on at Breakfast with Kovu, 7 till 10 in the AM via the Trickstar radio app. It's available worldwide, so lock in. We play music from all around the world, and it is a generally very enjoyable show. So do lock in, and we shall see you all next time. Peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.